Hello friends, if you are not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. If subscribed, check the bell, as well as put likes and comment a lot and distribute our video. 20 most expensive cars sold at auction. Cars are depreciating assets, most of the time. Most cars are depreciating assets that lose half their value as soon as you drive them off the lot. Yet some have proven to have such an important history in auto racing or elsewhere that they can appreciate, occasionally surpassing tens of millions of dollars. Auction houses such as Sotheby's, Gooding & Damp Company, Bonhams, and Arcurial usually handle the sales of these ultra-high-end classics. 1964 Ferrari 250 LM. Price, $17.6 million. Ferrari debuted the 250 LM in 1964, and it took first place at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1965. This legendary race car was limited to only 32 examples and represents the last time Ferrari was victorious at Le Mans. Powered by a V12 that delivers 320 horsepower, it was among the most dominant race cars of the 1960s. Sold for $17.6 million by Sotheby's in 2015. 1959 Ferrari 250 Gtlwb California Spyder Competizione. Price, $18.1 million. The 1959 250 Gtlwb California Spyder Competizione was an upgraded and more aggressive version of its SWB counterpart. This car is one of 9 to showcase lightweight alloy bodywork, and it adds to the rarity of the car. Sold by Gooding & Damp Company in 2016 for $18.1 million. 1954 Ferrari 375 plus Spyder. Price, $18.3 million. The Ferrari 375 plus Spyder was released in 1954 and was victorious at major races such as Le Mans, the 1,000 kilometers of Buenos Aires, and Silverstone. Only 8 375 plus Spyders sold for $18.3 million by Bonhams at the Goodwood Festival of Speed in 2014. A major legal dispute took place after its sale due to the car having been stolen from its previous owner, Gtlwb. It was stripped for parts and the chassis was bought by Belgian racing driver Jacques Swaters, who restored it. When Swaters passed away, his daughter was ruled the rightful owner in court and sold the car through Bonhams to the founder of Victoria's Secret, Les Wexner. 1961 Ferrari 250 Gtswb California Spyder. Price, $18.4 million. The Bailon collection was a secret stash of cars found in barns left behind by collector Roger Bailon. The highlight of the collection was the 1961 Ferrari 250 Gtswb California Spyder. This is the rarest of the 250 GTS as it has its original paint and iconic covered headlights. Sold in 2015 for $18.4 million by Arcurial in Paris, France. 1939 Alfa Romeo 8C2900B Touring Berlinetta. Price, $18.9 million. Italian automaker Alfa Romeo has many past collaborations with Italian coach builder Touring, resulting in some of the world's most beautiful cars. The 1939 Alfa Romeo 8C2900B Touring Berlinetta held the title as the fastest production car in the world when it was made. Powered by its 2.9-liter inline 8-cylinder engine that packs 180 horsepower, the 8C was able to achieve a top speed of 109 miles per hour. Only 5 were built. Sold for $18.9 million at an Arcurial auction in 2019. 1939 Alfa Romeo 8C2900B Lunga Spyder by Touring. Price, $19.8 million. Alfa Romeo and Touring built another version of the 8C in 1939. The 8C2900B Lunga Spyder by Touring is a convertible version of the original 8C and only 12 were ever made. Sold by Sotheby's in 2016 for $19.8 million, making it the most expensive pre-war car ever sold. Sotheby's refers to the 8C as the Italian equivalent of the Bugatti Atlantic. 1994 McLaren F1 LM. Price, $19.8 million. Most cars that sell for tens of millions of dollars are from half a century ago. The McLaren F1 debuted in 1992, and it already has an astronomical value. The F1 LM is the most expensive McLaren and is famous for honoring the 5 F1 GTRs that competed at Le Mans in 1995 and finished 1st, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 13th. The F1 is equipped with a naturally aspirated 6.1-liter V12 engine that delivers 618 horsepower. Only 6 F1 LMs were built. Sold for $19.8 million in 2019 by RM Sotheby's. 1995 McLaren F1. Price, $20.5 million. A 1995 McLaren F1 was on the auction block in Monterey. This one was painted in Creighton brown with Brazilian brown upholstery. It was originally sold to a buyer in Japan and stayed there with the original owner until 2012. This model was rarely driven as the odometer reads fewer than 390 kilometers, which is around 250 miles. Sold for $20.5 million by Gooding & Dabb Company. 1963 Aston Martin Dp 215. Price, $21 million. The 1963 Aston Martin Dp 215 was built to race at Le Mans and compete for the championship. The car was driven by world champion Phil Hill and Belgian racing veteran Lucien Bianchi. Powered by a straight-six engine producing 345 horsepower, the Dp 215 was the first car to reach the 300 km/h mark, 198.6 miles per hour. This car was sold at auction by RM Sotheby's in 2018 for $21.4 million. 1955 Jaguar D-Type. Price, $21.7 million. The Jaguar D-Type was victorious at Le Mans in 1956, where it was driven by Scottish racing team Écurie Cossi. Bearing a Scottish blueskin, the D-Type was equipped with an inline six-cylinder engine that delivered 250 horsepower. After Écurie Cossi stewardship, this D-Type was owned by 2 private parties and had been kept in pristine condition. This D-Type was auctioned by RM Sotheby's in 2016 and sold for $21.7 million. 1935 Deweysenberg Ssj. Price, $22 million. The 1935 Deweysenberg Ssj is an American automotive legend. The Ssj draws power from a dual supercharged, inline 8-cylinder engine supplying 400 horsepower. This Ssj is just one of 2 built, and it was originally delivered to American movie star and 3-time Academy Award winner Gary Cooper. The car has changed hands twice since its delivery and was sold at auction by Gooding & Dabb Company in 2018. Went for a staggering price of $22 million, making it the most expensive American car ever sold. 1956 Ferrari 290mm. Price, $22 million. The Ferrari 290mm was built to compete in the 1956 Mille Miglia, which it won with Eugenio Castellotti behind the wheel. Only 4 290mm were built, and just 3 remain. Sold at auction by RM Sotheby's for $22 million in 2018. 1956 Aston Martin DBR1. Price, $22.5 million. The Aston Martin DBR1 is the most successful race car in Aston Martin history, with wins at Le Mans in 1959 and at the Nürburgring 1000 among its accolades. Counts racing legends Sir Stirling Moss and Carroll Shelby among its pilots. It was sold by RM Sotheby's for $22.5 million in 2017. 1964 Ferrari 275 Gtbc specially by Cagliadi. Price, $26.4 million. The Ferrari 275 GTB was built to compete with the Ford GT40 and Shelby Cobra Daytona in 1965. The 275 Gtbc specially by Cagliadi was a tuned version of the regular 275 but with 70 more horsepower, bringing it to 320 horsepower. Italian coach builders Cagliadi started collaborating with Ferrari in the 1950s. The 275 Gtbc specially they designed together is among the rarest Ferraris, as only 3 models were built. Sold at auction for $26.4 million in 2014. 1967 Ferrari 275 GTB Fornart Spyder. Price, $27.5 million. Another iconic 275 was the GTB4 NART Spyder. NART was, of course, Luigi Chianetti's North American racing team, which fielded Ferraris at races in the US and France. Chianetti was Ferrari's used distributor, a man who had Ferrari's ear when it came to designing new models. The Spyder was one such creation. The car was powered by a 300 horsepower V12, which was a lot for a 1967. It sold for $27.5 million. 1956 Ferrari 290mm price, $28 million. A different 1956 Ferrari 290mm sold in 2018 for $22 million, but this 290mm fetched $28 million in 2015. This car was built for 5-time Formula One champion Juan Manuel Fangio to race at the 1956 Mille Miglia, where it finished in 4th place. 1954 Mercedes-Benz W196R. Price, $29.6 million. The 1954 Mercedes-Benz W196R raced in Formula One during the 1954 and 1955 seasons. It won back-to-back drivers' championships under the command of Juan Manuel Fangio and was sold at auction in its authentic condition. The W196 still has dents and blemishes throughout the body that were caused during 2 seasons of intense racing. The W196 sold for $29.6 million by Bonhams in 2013. 1957 Ferrari 335 Sports Cagliadi. Price, $35.7 million. The 1957 Ferrari 335 Sports Cagliadi is one of the most beautifully shaped Ferraris ever made, with its curving lines and bright Rosso Casa paint. It is famous for bringing home the World Manufacturers' Championship in 1957, but competed in countless other races. This 335 is one of 4 built, and sold at auction with a price of $35.7 million. 1962 Ferrari 250 Toberlinetta. Price, $38.1 million. There are expensive cars, and then there is the 1962 Ferrari 250 TO. It was the winner of 3 consecutive FIA World GT Championships. The 250 TO is equipped with a 5-speed manual transmission and a V12 engine that put out 296 horsepower. In 2014, this 250 TO sold at auction for $38.1 million by Bonhams. 1962 Ferrari 250 TO by Cagliadi. Price, $48.4 million. The original price of a 1962 Ferrari 250 TO was $18,000. In 2018, the Ferrari 250 TO by Cagliadi sold for $48.4 million and is currently the record for the most expensive car sold at auction. It was the third of 36 TOs to be built. Sotheby's describes the car as the world's most important, desirable, and legendary motor car. Another 250 TO. Sold for a record price around $70 million in a private sale to the founder of WeatherTech, David McNeil. On this, I say goodbye to you. Click on the bell and like.